Afternoon. For those of you that may not know me, my name is Steve McIntyre. I'm the Chief of Police for the Kennebecasis Regional Police Force. I'd like to welcome everyone here, the board members, Kennebecasis Regional Joint Board of Police Commissioners, the officers that are being recognized here today, and others that may be present, which is Constable Natasha Couture, Constable Ivey, Constable Marsh, and Constable Drew Palmer, along with their significant others. In the case of Natasha, Sean, Heather for Ivey, Krista for Marsh, and Megan for Drew Palmer, and other family members. We certainly like to welcome you, along with a special guest that we have here today, Assistant Commissioner Roger Brown, Commanding Officer of J Division, RCMP. What I'd like to do first is just give a very short explanation of what our commendation awards are. We had a policy that was put in place as far back as 2001, and we did present some of the deputy chief, and board commendation over the years, but regrettably we fell short in some years, and we're playing a little bit of a catch-up here. I think some of the incidents that have taken place in New Brunswick and indeed locally here in our own jurisdiction kind of brought it back to bear how important it is to recognize people when their work clearly demonstrates the worthiness of receiving some type of recognition or award. So very briefly I'll explain. There's a deputy chief commendation that simply reads, for demonstrating over the course of a single investigation, operation, or incident exceptional skill, judgment, dedication, or integrity in the performance of duty. The one for the commendation for the chief would be for demonstrating the highest standard of police conduct or humanitarianism in a single operation, incident, or investigation where there was some risk but limited or no exposure to actual or anticipated danger. And finally, the one for the board, which we're here for today, recognizes for demonstrating the highest standards in police conduct or humanitarian in a single operation, incident, or investigation when there was a high risk of exposure to danger or significant risk. And that is demonstrated over either a single incident or over a period of time. The Assistant Commissioner is here today to present some commendations from the RCMP for these members that were involved in the horrific incident that took place in Moncton on June the 4th. That was in itself one of the single largest policing tragedies that we have experienced in a long, long time. I think I would like to take, I would suggest that this would be an appropriate time just to provide for a moment of silence with respect to the loss of life incurred by Constable David Ross, Constable Fabrice Jodovan, and Constable Douglas Larsh. So if we could just have a stand and have a moment of silence, please. Thank you. Now it is my pleasure to introduce Assistant Commissioner Roger Brown. We have a little bit of background information here. As soon as he talks, you're going to realize he's a proud Newfoundlander. He joined the RCMP in 1980. Following training, he was assigned general duties in Rivière-du-Loup, Quebec, and later in Grand Bank, Newfoundland and Labrador. Served as an investigator in federal enforcement in Gander, where he performed general detachment and drug enforcement duties. 1993, he was transferred to the RCMP Academy Depot in Regina, Saskatchewan, where he served as an instructor until 1997. Pursued his career as a commissioned officer at National Headquarters in Ottawa, where he served as Program Development Officer in Officers, Staffing, and Personnel, prior to being appointed as Officer in charge of the Executive Diplomatic Protection Service. In this capacity, he was responsible for managing the provision of close personal protection and site security services for Canadian government executive and Ottawa's diplomatic community. 2002, Roger was promoted to the rank of Chief Superintendent and appointed as the Human Resource Officer, RCMP Central Region, Ottawa, where he was responsible for all facets of HR for Ontario, Quebec, and headquarters. In early 2006, he returned to the Protective Policing Branch as officer in charge of protection operations in the National Capital Region. Later that year, he was promoted to the rank of Assistant Commissioner in charge of the Protective Policing Branch. In 2008, he became the commanding officer of the RCMP Academy Depot in Regina until his recent transfer to New Brunswick, where he became the 29th commanding officer of the RCMP in New Brunswick. He has extensive experience in the field of human resources, having completed studies at the University of Toronto's Rotman School of Business, St. Francis Xavier, Dalhousie University, and the University of Waterloo. 2012, he was appointed as an officer of the Order of Merit of Police Forces. Assistant Commissioner Brown enjoys the outdoors, and in particular boating and motorcycling. He and his wife Deborah Ann are the proud parents of two sons, Jonathan, a serving RCMP member in Newfoundland, and Matthew, landscape architect in Boston and a master's student in Harvard. Roger. Thank you.
First of all, I apologize for the bio. I hate listening to those because they're kind of boring at the end of the day. And at the end of the day, I think all of us, what we want to do in policing is just make a difference. And at the end of a career, say, you know what, this person really believed in his or her people and did a good job. And that's what we all hope to achieve. So thank you for that. Also, before I speak a little bit about this and about Moncton, I have to say thank you to you and your entire staff and the board for the exceptional leadership. And you know, at the end of the day, leadership to me is about empowering people to do the jobs they're doing and to work on the partnerships or the relationships that allow us to work together in collaboration. And in this particular province, we're very, very fortunate in that as police organizations, we do work well together. And really, at the end of the day, there's a lot of talk out there about the economics of policing, what it costs to do all that. And really, if we as policing organizations don't recognize the need to work together, then we're doing a total disservice to the citizens that we actually serve. And furthermore, it allows us collectively as a group to spend the money where it's needed in the communities. And you know, economics of policing really should be thought about in a little bit of a different view, in my humble opinion. It would be the economics of public safety. It's not all about policing, it's about all of us working together and collectively putting our skill sets and everything together for the common good. And the Moncton incident, you know, as tragic as it was, and you know, it is still difficult. I gotta tell you, in my 33, 34 years of policing, coming to New Brunswick, you know, living through this absolute nightmare, even to this day, is difficult. And every time I hear, you know, Doug and Dave and Fabrice's name, or I see the photos, it hurts. It's going to hurt for a long time. And you know, it's not the legacy that one would like to have as a commanding officer of a division or as a chief of police. But the fact of the matter is, it's a reality of policing. And this profession, this calling is a different one, and it really requires all of us to try and dig a little deeper to understand who we really are and why we do what we do. But that takes me to my next point, and that is you, families. And you know, as difficult it is for these individuals to do their job day in and day out, I know for a fact, having a son in the force, and Deb, who's been you know, with me for 34 years, understands that you can't do these jobs alone. You can't do these jobs without the support of the families and the children and parents and grandparents and everybody else to get the job done. It's a difficult job, and at times there are times when we got to sit back and turn the, you know, the thank yous back to the families, because that means a lot to all of us who wear a uniform day in and day out. So to you, thank you for that. And you know, when you look at them, you know, the June 4th, every one of us in a heartbeat would be able to tell us exactly where we were when we got that call, where you saw it or how it unfolded. But there's a group of people that didn't hesitate for a second to leave the safety of their home, the safety of their families, to go, these individuals. And going out the door, knowing exactly where they were going and why, knowing full well that when they were leaving, as did our own members, we had 3 members actually down and shot at that point in time. We had an individual at large, knowing that we were going to be involved in a manhunt for an extensive period of time. We've had family members that said, please don't go. We've had kids that didn't want their parents to go to work. We still have police officers whose kids are scared. That's the part that we're all trying to wrap our heads around and deal with. So when you talk about, you know, to your point about the commendations and exemplary service, that's really what it's all about. Yes, it does require different people to do police work, but it's certainly, to me, in my humble opinion, to give the recognition to people that go above and beyond, knowing full well what they're getting into on that particular night speaks volumes. Actions always speak louder than words, and you know, that's what tonight is all about. Recognition for to you on behalf of your organization, to the families for being there to support, to the board for supporting your police organization the way you do, not only in monetary ways but allowing us to work towards the partnerships that we have. People in the general public, they really don't care about the straight run your pants at the end of the day. They really care about being safe in their communities, and to me what this is all about is us having that relationship that we obviously have here. And I really want to say thank you to you, Steve, and all of you for allowing me a few minutes of your time, allowing me the opportunity to be able to say thank you, other than through a written format or a memo and so on, because that's pretty impersonal, and to be able to recognize your employees for what they did for my organization on that night. And I'll finish off with this. A lot has been said about what happened in Moncton, and you know, it's 4 months since that night, and I still can't get through the mound of paperwork and stuff that I'm trying to work through with all this. But there was a stone that was placed in front of the Moncton detachment, and that stone, you've probably heard of, seen it. It was just carved. It said Moncton Strong, and I think that stone needs to be changed now. I think it needs to stay something like Moncton Stronger, New Brunswick Stronger, the policing organization in this province stronger. The support that we got from the community at large, the support that we got as a police community from this city, from the province, from the country, and internationally, has just been absolutely overwhelming, to say the least. And you know what? As much of a tragedy as this was, I think we all gained strength from it in some way, shape, or form. We all learned from it. I think we're stronger as a group collectively, and we need to now pick up the pieces as much as it hurts, learn from it as much as we can, not lay blame, learn from what was going on there, and then whatever I learn, whatever we learn as an organization, we learn together as men and women in uniform to be able to go this route together. So all that to say, I guess I could have said it in one word, thank you, but I don't know if that would have done justice. So on behalf of my organization, my members, and the 3 families who again spent a couple of hours with yesterday, thank you for absolutely everything, for the support, the continued support, and I know that we will continue to work together for the safety of everybody that live in these communities. Our province and our commitment will remain strong. So for that, thank you very much, and for the time.
So firstly, Constable Natasha Couture.
Well, I just found out it's my neighbor. That's good. Good way to find out. There you go. See, if you and I do it right, everybody does it right.
That's right. Then can you move over some?
I'll see what's wrong.
Good.
It's done. That was quick.
That was quick.
Constable Marsh.
here.
Oh, one more.
Oh.
I can't do it with her flash.
Oh, okay. No, go ahead. What happened? I've held hands with him longer than that. It's okay. Don't worry about it. So where do we go? Right here?
Yeah. There we go.
And now we go over here. Take your time. How's that? Thank you.
Constable Mark Ivey.
Thank you, Mark. Sir. Well, that was easy. Not even a reflection.
Constable Drew Palmer.
How do we do this?
One more. Perfect.
And we should acknowledge your little fellow wearing a shirt and tie. That's pretty impressive. Some in years to come, you'll be explaining what this night was. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Roger.
Thank you.
Next, I'd like to ask our board chair, Bill McGuire, to come forward and offer a few words on behalf of our governing authority, the Kennebecasis Regional Joint Board of Police Commissioners.
The key word being few. I'd just like to thank everybody for coming today. You know, this police department, I've been here for quite a while now, sitting on the board, and we're, as a group, very proud of our members. I hear, you know, I'm constantly hearing really good things about all of our people, and it just makes me proud, and on behalf of the board, I'd just like to thank everybody for their service. Thank you.
We'll keep you right here. The first board commendation will go to Detective Constable Natasha Couture. To provide a little bit of background, Natasha is a seconded member of the New Brunswick Integrated Tech Crime Unit that's situated at J Division in Fredericton. When this incident happened, Natasha was deployed to Moncton, where she did a 12-hour shift responding to calls for service while the armed suspect was still at large. After the suspect's capture, she provided tech crime services for the investigation, which was extensive on its own right. We can do the next two one after another. Constable Mark Ivey and Constable Matt Marsh. Both are members of the combined St. John Kennebecasis Regional Police Force Emergency Tactical Services team. There were approximately 100 heavily armed emergency response members on scene. Both of our members were assigned to one of many integrated teams comprised of officers from various organizations. Their assignment was to answer calls for service involving possible sightings of the accused. As luck would have it, they were the team, part of the team, after many false reports that actually answered the call of a legitimate sighting. Assisted by aerial surveillance, they, along with their team members from the RCMP and other forces, entered a wooded area and took the still heavily armed accused into custody. Constable Marsh and Constable Ivey. And last but certainly not least, Detective Constable Drew Palmer, seconded member of the Fundy Integrated Intelligence Unit, was deployed to Moncton to provide security and continuity of the crime scene. He put in 2 6-hour shifts at the crime scene while the suspect, still heavily armed and having shot 5 officers, was still at large in the area. He was stationed at the scene in uniform in a police vehicle, which would make you somewhat of a target, while the search for the suspect was still being conducted. Constable Palmer. Thanks, Bill. Just for closing remarks, I'd like to thank everyone that came today. I think there's 2 purposes served today. One is certainly to provide the recognition and the thanks to the members and their families that were involved in this horrific situation. And I think the other serves as a very good indicator, as was alluded to by Roger Brown, of the collaboration, cooperation, and integration that police services in New Brunswick enjoy. We have a very good relationship, and have for quite some time, with the RCMP in the province and the St. John Police Force, our neighbor to the west, with a lot of integrated teams. That's certainly the way to go in modern policing, and in an atmosphere of limited funding where we have to make the best use of limited resources. So I think, again, the operation, I know the night that this, Roger alluded to the fact that everybody can probably recall where they were when the information came. I certainly can. And I can tell you within a half hour, at the request of one of the senior members of the RCMP, we had people deployed that were policing in Hampton and the Sussex region, while their members were being frantically deployed to the Moncton area. Later on, near the midnight area, when more resources became available, the RCMP returned to Hampton and took over their patrols. And from there, our services continued, as was mentioned in these awards, with crime scene work, tech crime work, the ETS stuff. On the day of the huge funeral, directing traffic in the municipality of Kodiak so that the RCMP members were able to actually attend the funeral. So anyway, I want to thank everyone for coming here today, and certainly offer congratulations to the officers that were awarded, and would remind everybody that there's all kinds of refreshments and whatnot. Please stay and enjoy the friendship of one another, and have something to eat. Thank you.